So if you're probably compelled to hear from me about this, you're probably wanting to know, okay, what's everybody's story? What's everybody's life potential? What is the exact time frame of, okay, how we succeed every day and the good habits or the bad lives of bad habits that we accrue? And some of us might think that, okay, it's very far foreign to even think about those things, and because we don't even think about it. And because we're so busy about how we carry our habits every day and the number of grinds that we have to perform, whether containing with our living or the way of life, your career, your finances and successes. Particularly, I thought about this a lot, and because I wanted to actually dive more deeper about really getting to know the life stories of yourselves, potentially about writing your own story one day. You know, one of the questions that we should ask ourselves is, how can I best be productive in this world in order for me to let my story outlast, outwork, and outimprove anyone's successes or weaknesses? Now, of course, you want to be able to conquer the weaknesses, but also outlast the weaknesses that confront you. And the key topics I've learned from some of the very basic success famous books like the Your Next 5 Moves or the 10X book or Think and Grow Rich book, or many success books that we've talked about or at times we really just rave about. Particularly getting back to the life stories, not just from my own life story I talk about, or I can even talk about my life story. This isn't just about the life story. This is also really mainly about just making time to reflect about yourselves. You know, in most cases, we are so bogged down with temptations, distractions, but we still have the rough time to make time for ourselves. One of the things that, okay, is very important, particularly for me, is I make time to wake up with good prayer. Whether if I'm out and about and in taking contemplative prayer, because particularly I was raised as Catholic, so as a Catholic we were taught to exercise with good prayer, pray contemplatively, and in so doing, talk about your life story when you have the opportunity to. Most cases of whatever good habits that you catch on to, you keep on to those good habits. A writing that I started reflecting more on is basically not just from the first book that I published, but also really diving deeper into the second book that I want to plan to put together and publish in the near future, is really about everybody's life story, situations or observance, and how they perceive with life and how they come about, really from a bigger perspective of how to more observe about yourself in a way that you can still appreciate life. So a writing I came up with is, I thought to myself, and everything in life is about winning, and we have to win. Totally understandable. This is not brash or as outlandish as possible for me to tell you, but yes, we still have to win. This is part of life. This is factors of our productivity is we win. Winning is what helps us survive and be productive into the world. Winning is how we contact our barriers, because in life we are going to run into barriers. We've run into so many barriers. So essentially there's going to be more barriers that you're going to have to confront. That is the fact of life that we have to embrace, the facets of endeavors and the really many observances that we have to face, because that's how we grow. We grow by confronting the barriers. We take one barrier, we take it down, we confront another one, we take that down. And in so doing comes the good and all the good fortunes that we can gain. And then yet help increase the abundance so that others ahead of you or behind you can pick up and catch up and be more productive, right? In the lines of writing that I wrote actually was based on a movie called We Are Marshall, briefly summarized by one of the actors whom have summarized very basic concepts of this very a pep talk film that most of us watched or maybe raved about or haven't really watched about. The film is called We Are Marshall. You've probably known the actor Matthew McConaughey, who plays Jack Lingell as the football coach. In some of the ideas of the writings, I inscribed it into the writing that I have added into this paper, which of course will help more dive deeper later on. So go on. Winning is everything. Good effort is not enough. That is a factor of life. Lessons must be learned in practice. Practical applications of life's lessons is about winning just because we want to win. Losers, taken down as well, learn from failures. That is applicable in most facets of life's greatest measures. One in particular being is your own health. When we do not have good health, we just moan, reduce, surrender, and die. We rested even into our own laurels because some decide that it would be even best to let their own guard down. Of course, there is always time also for recovery. The spirit of winning is just like what we do every day when we wake up from our own bed. Why we care so much about our own health? Because we do not want measures of conventional and any conformed health organizations tell us how to take away our pain. In this case, I talk about and we go back to our health because, Jesus, good God. Praise to the God above us. He's given us so much health and so much good resources, so much potential that we can utilize Earth's natural-based sources to really be healthy again. And in order to be healthy again, you have to want to be able to produce, contribute in all facets of life. In today's economic world, we have to want to be able to be healthy properly so that we can be proactive, productive. Not just because we want to be good citizens of the world and rest into our laurels or let our guard down, but I take it from the concept that I learned from this movie, We Are Marshall, the football film that talks about strength, recovery, rising from the ashes. And this is what the team did. They rose from the ashes and they helped demonstrate the real potential and hope in the players. Jack Lingell, played by Matthew McConaughey, who demonstrated proper character in these players to build up and move up, rise from the ashes. A very small town in West Virginia. I've had close encounters with a lot of southern West Virginians, many southerners who have showed even the warmest and greatest hospitality. I did not grow up in the South. I lived in the South for 2 years. This is my story, from my life's perspective, and I've traveled around so many times in many parts of the U.S. And one of the greatest measures of appreciation that you're able to gain as a person, and this helps change you as a person, is the resemblance of culture and the people that help you recognize who they are because of their history, because of their native background, their culture, their language. But I take it critically about, okay, how can really the good sources and even the good people of the local governments and states, national, and at world at large can utilize all of these good potentials of natural sources to really help us be more productive and that we can do more good to the society. We don't have to feel like, I go back to some of the previous topics I talked about, rising from our ashes, right? Some of the things that we want to consider of, yes, greatly. To rise from your ashes, to rise above your challenges. You've probably been told about that so many times. You've probably been raved to your face to get out of your asses instead of passing away with your failures, right? I tell you, basically, from a short sense, that you don't have to take this to light. You can just as well easily, like you said, turn me off, leave me, right? Leave me to dust. Pass away, just like you normally do. Pass away like a normal person walking to the grocery store, waiting to be checked out. Or you can do something about yourself. You can do something about your life. And then you can do something more about your goals. what you're willing to do to however much you can gain. What are you willing to do to take the next step? What are you willing to make to take the next leap of faith? Leap of faith. And we've been told so many times about taking a leap of faith. If you want to understand the source, you have to go to the source, right? We talk about, how we check our credibility. We gain our credibility, whether if it's schooling or through going to college. But this is, in a sense, the summary of what I just read to you. Winning is everything, because good effort is not enough. Good effort is not enough. Winning is really everything. That's how you win in life. We have to rise up in order to win. We have to walk out our front doors in order to win. We have to want to be able to get in our driver's seats, get in our cars in order to win. It's not in the sense of getting into the market and being more aggressive and brutal and so outlandishly stupid enough that you, as a spectator, would think that you speculate to survive. But you have to win properly. There's proper ways of actually winning in the game of life. We talk about the game of life. We talk about how we can embrace the challenges and the barriers I talked about earlier in that. Contact the barriers so that you can preserve what's more important for most of us to win in life. In that perspective, you can then help yourselves establish and elaborate your personal story. You just as well as help me elaborate my own personal story and how things come about easily. Not so easily, but as a challenge, right? We have to persevere. We have to accept even the limitless restrictions that are put in front of us. When the limitless restrictions confine us, we are more destined to motivate ourselves to get out of it, to confront it, legally, ethically, and morally. Legally, ethically, and morally. This is one of the few concepts that I've learned, actually, even as I've read so many good books about doing things to good than the wrong way, so that you don't violate a contract. So I take this to heart, and I hope that you can take this to heart. Whatever your goals, whatever your potential is, you take this to the critical level to start winning again. Continue to win. Even if you're not winning right now, start winning right now. Make a goal every day. Start winning. Whatever your potential goal will be, you can expand that. As I read the sentence to you, first three sentences, I'll read that to you again, just so we can understand each other. Winning is everything. Good effort is not enough. That is a factor of life. Lessons must be learned and practiced. Remember that saying, practice makes perfect? We've heard that so many times. Practice does make perfect, because any skill set we use and improve on, that is what we help allow ourselves to improve, elaborate, and in turn, good rewards come along the way because you took the time to practice. That's how you got better. Practice makes perfect. So, take this awesome video, reflect it, think about it, and pass it along, and definitely we'll look forward to next time. Take care. Bye for now. So keep going.